Hi folks, I've tried to do a short before and I did a short and it lasted more than 8 minutes and YouTube just made it a regular video. It ended up being probably my most popular video. It was about Pluto coming back into Capricorn a few weeks ago, but there was something that I wanted to convey and I think a short is probably the best way to do it. We had the new moon solar eclipse a few hours ago. I'm doing this at 5:55 p.m. local time. Talk about an eclipsey time that cracks me up. The eclipse occurred about 6 odd hours ago, roughly, and it's a new moon solar eclipse. It's also a new moon, and certainly, as I've said to you in my videos, the past 48 hours felt very much like we were in the dark of the moon. There's so much at play. This is really just a friendly reminder to say, it's a friendly reminder to say, take a deep breath if you can, and don't give into, especially if you're dealing with a certain amount of feelings of hopelessness or flatness, or, prior to a new moon, when the moon is dark, things can feel depressed and anxious. The energy and the vitality is not there. The moon is dark. We're emotionally, the two planets that deal with our vitality and our energy, the moon and Mars. And with Mars, it's a different quality of focus. Wherever Mars is, a lot of our energy goes and action goes. With the moon, it's a question of how much vitality do we have as kind of natural access to. And when the moon is dark, we're really releasing the last month, the month of Virgo, and we are getting ready for the new month, the month of Libra, to start. And the month of Libra started a few hours ago. And with the month of Libra, so after new moon, energy and vitality does start to come back, and a certain amount of optimism does start to come back. The moon is still dark, but we're on the other side of it. And, some people say we really can feel the vitality return once you can see the crescent of the moon. I do feel a shift after the new moon. But it's possible. This is really a video I wanted to do yesterday before, because I could tell that we were tapping into this. It's a double whammy when it's before a new moon and a solar eclipse, because the moon is the darkest that it's going to be in this kind of roughly month of eclipse month that we've got, that for me lasts from about September 10th to about October 9th. We had a full moon lunar eclipse on September 17th. So September 10th to 17th, the moon was expanding. It was not dark. And then the week after that, the moon was, this is the only time in this time period between September 10th and October 9th that the moon is really dark. And we have turned the corner. We've had the new moon. We've had the solar eclipse. If the last 48 hours, and particularly the 24 odd hours before the new moon solar eclipse, felt flat, hopeless, anxiety-provoking, even sad, depressed, spacey, difficult to get work done, just kind of want to release the, needing to sleep, needing to rest. A, in terms of time, it's now behind you. B, in general, consider that even if you have so far had a relatively peaceful eclipse period, as I have had, relatively speaking, we've still got a week to go. And we've just had a new moon solar eclipse. We're not going to feel that solar eclipse before the eclipse. It's a new moon solar eclipse. We're going to feel it over the next week. So we're not done. We're not out of the woods, eclipse-wise. And even if you've had a relatively calm eclipse period, it's difficult, I think, not to get affected by all the news of the eclipsiness around us. The floods, certainly with this particular eclipse period, is the one where I have most gotten a sense of, whether it is through natural disasters or accidents, in my case, based on the nature of the work I do, people losing what they have. Eclipse things, situations being eclipsed in, eclipsed out, big events, dramatic events. And eclipses affect us all. Not all eclipses affect us all in the same way or the same intensity. But just, it's a way of saying, deep breath. All this information about Iran missiles and detonating buildings, and it's not a question of whose side we're on or not. And with everything you see with regard to the election, it's a lot. It's a lot. So that even if you're not personally dealing with a lot of turmoil, although I would hazard, again, with eclipses, sometimes they're quieter, sometimes it's a restless period. So when the moon is dark, I no longer feel like I need to say, breathe through it and just kind of, because we're done with the dark of the moon prior to the new moon about 6 hours ago. We are past the new moon. The wind will have started to get behind our sails. Hopefully, if we're feeling a little bit more optimistic, hope we're feeling like, you know what, I can dust myself off and I can get behind whatever I need to get behind and do whatever it is that I need to do to get myself out of or into whatever it is that these eclipses are demanding and what the messages are. So onward, we gently get back on the horse, go easy on yourself, and try, and the whole purpose of this message is to say, try and, if the last 48 hours, especially prior to the new moon solar eclipse in Libra a few hours ago, took the wind out of your sails, just be good to yourself. Enjoy the fact that the wind is starting to get back behind your sails. Know that there's going to be a new dawn and that you will get behind what you need to do and you will start to change whatever it is that the eclipses want you to change. So if you need to tackle certain things and you've been feeling blocked and there's a new routine or a new way of doing things, whatever it is, for some people it's more dramatic. I've already put the new moon solar eclipse video on Libra on my channel. I mean, there's a longer video on the eclipse itself, and that's already available to you as a resource. And I have to say, when I put the title around the prospect for healing and resolution as part of this eclipse, I did pause. I thought, I know that there are a lot of people who are dealing with a certain amount of chaos right now. But it's my job to convey the astrology of the time. I'm not being overly optimistic. I'm just saying, hey, these trines are coming up that could be really positive. They're not going to show up prior to the new moon. They're not going to, they'll start to make their, and it's something that develops through October and November. And they're not the only transit. I was preparing for, this is going to go over 8 minutes. It's not going to be a short. I was preparing for my next video, which is an overview of October. And, you know, there are other aspects we're going to look at as well, but just deep breath. We're past the midpoint of the eclipses, but we've dealt with energetically probably when our energy and vitality was at our lowest and we might have been the most exhausted and we might have felt the most tapped out. Added to that, Mercury and the Sun are very close to each other. They've just done their Cazimi on October the 30th. So it's likely that crossed wires, Mercury not quite being available or accessible to us. Our energy is low. Our mental capacity is feeling a little burnt out. Mercury's been checking in with the Sun. It's starting to move forward. Again, things are pointing to us starting to clear. The moon is conjuncted the Sun. It's been dark. Mercury is conjuncted the Sun and it is dark. And they're both our vitality and our ability to communicate, cognate, plan over the next few days will start to move forward. We're still in an eclipse period for next week. So don't, just be on the lookout, but be good to yourself, be kind to yourself. Don't give in to too much of flatness or despair. I would hazard to say that over the past 5 or 6 hours anyway, some of that has started to shift, which I hope it has. And we deal with whatever it is we need to deal with. And it is the eclipses. So the news, whether it is passing of people personally to us, learning about mortality, dealing with all the sort of celebrity and all the other really serious, intense stuff. Just one more week. More details on the new moon solar eclipse video are out on the new moon solar eclipse. I'm going to treat this as a regular video right now. Are available. You can look at my last video for that. And yeah, it's a kind, you know, I kind of wanted to just do a, if you're feeling like this, you're not crazy, but just put it in context for what it is. And once the eclipse period is done in a week's time, we'll take back control of the car. God will give back. Right now, God has taken the wheel to some extent, or Spirit has taken the wheel, or however you want to look at it. and is accelerating change and transitions for us all. For some people in a very extreme manner, for others kind of giving us a bit of a shake or a shake up, and for others making us feel very frustrated or tired of the status quo and kind of demanding action. Part of the challenge of the time is that the energy needed to make that action all of a sudden over the past 48 hours or so may have just gone flat. Mercury isn't completely separated from the sun. The moon has just conjuncted the sun, but we are now on the other side of all of that, and it will start to shift. And even now, even as you're watching this, I would hazard to say that some of the energy is going to start to return, and we will do the best we can and start to incorporate the changes and still be vigilant for what it is that's to come over the next week. And then after October the 9th, we'll take back control of the vehicle and start to move in the direction where we feel doors are open or closed to us and start to build on that to the best of our ability. Okay? As I said, solar eclipse video is out there as a resource. If you are interested in talking to me, I am offering till October the 10th a 30-minute $50 reading on how the eclipses might be affecting your birth chart. You can use my email address, which will be in the description box below. Or if you want information about my other readings, I can give you that too. Just you can contact me there. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave my normal spiel. Well, it is going to end up being a normal video. So if you want to comment or like, you're welcome to do so on this video. You're more than welcome to do so. It gives it more circulation on YouTube. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. This last bit that I'm saying is what I say after every video. I wasn't expecting to say it. If I could actually have said everything I wanted to say under 8 minutes. Hasn't happened. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you're welcome to do so, of course. Consider doing it. And next to the subscribe button is a bell icon. You hover over it, wiggly bell on top, click on that. You'll be notified when I do new videos. Likes, comments, includes increased circulation. There's a thanks button beneath this video. You can use that to contribute to the channel. Gosh, my end of video is almost as long as the rest of the video. But the new moon solar eclipse has happened a few hours ago. And Mercury is separating from the sun. And we have one more week. So where energetically you feel like you just need to give yourself a hug, do it. And now at this point where we're at, if you're ready to say, okay, whatever the last 48 hours was about, and the flatness and the bleakness and the inability to really get moving on certain things, perhaps it's behind us, and we can now get back on the horse and start to incorporate and make the changes that the eclipses are demanding of us, and keep an eye out over the next week or so to see what else develops. And after October 9th, 10th, move forward. October and the first 3 weeks of November are still very much forward moving months, and we need the eclipses and the inertia, and we need the eclipses to get us out of the inertia to move in a certain direction. I just, when things happen that are so catastrophic for certain people, you know, even if they're not happening for you, with eclipses though, the ground shakes for everybody a little bit. I think, you know, either it's frustration at the status quo on our part, and it's tough, you know, with the Mercury consumed and not having access to our vitality or fully our mental capacity to communicate or transact. But it's behind us, which is sort of the core of what it is that I wanted to convey, and just kind of check in. All right, I'll leave it at that. I was going to do the October video overview today, but I think I might leave that for tomorrow, just to give this some room to settle and for us all to kind of take a deep breath now that the eclipse is over and start to move forward with hopefully a little bit more renewed optimism and increasing vigor and clarity, and start to tackle what we need to tackle. Okay, take care.